version of Zoom. We have a very short agenda today, so we should zoom through the Zoom. So let's start.
Oh,
I know I wrote it down, Mary. I was so excited to say it.
oh, okay.
So, if you're going to speak today, and had to remind me to continue to say this in the future, if you could mute your mic just in case, because in a few of the past meetings, we picked up some outside noise until you're ready to talk. So let's call the meeting to order by identification, starting with Commissioner Caffarelli. That would be to my left. Commissioner.
Good morning, Chairman. Brian Caffarelli, Commissioner.
Good morning, Kristen Linder, Commissioner.
Marian Guanti, Commissioner.
Angelo DeFazio, Commissioner.
Richard Carbrae, Commissioner.
Heather Hoynes, Board Administrator.
Good morning to all. Right off the bat, we only have one new pharmacy application and no remodels today, so we should get right through this. I saw that Richard Olson is on. Is Richard Olson on?
Yes.
Good morning, Mr. Olson. How are you?
Good. How you doing, Anton?
Good, good. Well, you're very dark there in the picture. It's like
yeah, I've got probably windows open behind me.
Oh, I thought it was the witness protection program. So. There you go. Attaboy. That's fine. Don't worry about it. You
Right.
don't need your voice.
Nobody wants to see my face anyway.
Good morning to you. Rick, could you please raise your right hand? You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Is there any physician ownership in this pharmacy?
No.
Is there any healthcare professional that can write prescriptions in the state of Connecticut that are involved in the pharmacy?
No.
Is there any computer system or device that can see patient compliant HIPAA information that will sit outside of the pharmacy itself?
No.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Carbrae, you're on your own today since Commissioner Chisholm isn't here today.
No problem. Morning, Rick. How you doing?
Good, Rick. How are you?
Good, thanks. Good. Good to see you. Talk to you and see you.
Yeah.
I see we have the plans in front of us.
Right.
Pretty straightforward. This is a freestanding building, correct? In New London.
That's correct. Yep.
Yeah. I looked at the building on Google Earth and everything looks fine. Going through the plans, because we can't see it as well on the screen now, but I had a bigger view of it. Everything seemed to be in place. Couple of safes in the back of the pharmacy. Sink and refrigerator are in place on the drawing down near the long-term care area.
Yeah.
And then didn't see a food refrigerator for like staff anywhere. I'm sure you could probably put that in.
It's in the kitchen.
Oh, right in the kitchen. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see that. It's in there.
Okay. Yeah, otherwise, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I don't see anything unusual. You know, the layout is good. It's a fairly big space, isn't it? About 5,000 square feet.
Yeah, it's pretty decent. I mean, he's got a lot of office space in there. I'm not sure what Greg is looking to do with that, but that's the way he's got it set up anyway, initially.
Yeah, we just did one for him last month where he was putting in like a hardware section in the pharmacy.
Yeah.
Well, that's the Higginham store. Yeah.
That was kind of unique.
He's always thinking, you know?
Yeah, no, hey, you know, any way to generate revenue and hopefully profitable revenue. But yeah, this layout looks fine. I don't see any issues with it at all.
Very good.
Unless any other commissioners have a comment on it.
Hearing none. Good luck, Rick. Thank you for joining us this morning. We really
Thank you, Angelo.
Take care, Rick.
Thank you.
Okay. In terms of a new pharmacy application for Nutmeg Pharmacy, New London, what is your pleasure?
Moved as presented.
I will second it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Thank you, Rick. Have a good day.
Thank you very much.
Take care, Rick.
Oh, now to one of my favorite attractions during our Zooms. We haven't had the pleasure to see him very often. Esquire Ando, how are you today?
Good morning. I'm quite well. How are you?
Good. Welcome aboard. How's things?
Thank you.
Good.
Good. Good. Things are going well.
Good. Good. So let's get to, we only have a couple of legal matters on the matter. Why don't we start with docket number 2017-1231?
So prepare to be disappointed that our time together is even shorter. Unfortunately, something fell through. There was a component of this agreement I didn't anticipate becoming I wouldn't say a sticking point, but an issue that I hadn't foreseen. And in order to make sure it's fully addressed before we move forward, I'm actually going to hold off and request that we pull that off the agenda today. And you may see it again in the future, but we just want to make sure everything is completely addressed before we move forward with any agreement.
Well, since it'll be pulled off the agenda, then I think it's wise for any questions that the commissioners may have, just to hold that off also until it becomes an agenda item again. Okay, is that fair, commissioners? Because I know I would have had a couple questions on that. All right, then let's table case number 2019-1977 to, would the next meeting be suffice?
I'm sorry, just for clarity, 2017-1231.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's reversed on the other sheet. I apologize. That's right. -1231. That's right. Thank you for the record. Thank you, Esquire. All right, then moving on to case number 201-1977.
This case involved a business in the state that had not opened for business yet, but it was using a name that the Drug Control Division felt fell too closely similar to the use of the word pharmacy. It was not spelled the same way. It was an alternative spelling. However, there is a statute, section 20-609B of the Connecticut General Statutes, which does regulate business signage and advertising when it relates to certain terms explicitly listed as relating to the practice of pharmacy, but also other terms or symbols that may be associated with the practice of pharmacy. And I'm sure the commissioners are all aware that we've had other cases involving this in the past. This one was a little bit unique in the sense that they were not engaging in the practice of pharmacy. Ultimately, before the business opened, we reached an agreement here. There is absolutely no indication whatsoever that this was any kind of malicious or intentional act to trade on the name of pharmacy. Based on the interactions that we had with the business, they were very cooperative. And so we've reached an agreement in which the business would discontinue the use of the word pharmacy or related words that would fall under this statute or phrases. And they would do that at this location and any potential future locations, although at this point we're not aware of any in the plans. And we would in turn drop this case. It would no longer be an active case. We would not bring future cases with regard to this particular word, which would not be in use again. Obviously, if there's a separate issue that the commission has jurisdiction over, Drug Control Division has jurisdiction over, that would be a separate matter. But we're hoping, and we are hopeful, that there is no indication that this will become a problem again. It was a misunderstanding based on a name that was already in use by this business in other states without problem. Although this is a common statute, some variation of this is a common statute across many states. Not all states have it in place, and some states do enforce it differently or make determinations about applicability differently. So it hasn't been a problem for them anywhere else, and we're hoping that we'll be able to allow them to move forward, opening their business in the state, beginning to engage in sale there without any future problems.
Any questions for Attorney Ando? I have actually a question, Attorney Ando. I've seen the word pharmacy, misspelled purposely with the letter F for pharmacy, and with recreational marijuana around the corner at some point, and a lot of health food stores and CBD stores where I know I've seen it out of state very, very often. Is that wordplay? Would that wordplay fall under our purview or DCP's purview, that you're not allowed to use that misspelling of the word?
That would be our position. And I would encourage anyone who does see that to encourage the Drug Control Division there, to contact the Drug Control Division. There is contact information on the Drug Control Division website, and there is also a complaint form or a phone number if they prefer a phone number. It is something we actively investigate. Even in the course of the investigation that resulted in this case, there were several other businesses identified by individuals that we spoke to who were using a similar name convention. It's an issue that we take seriously for a variety of reasons, one of which is that alternative spellings may, in some cases, and pharmacy with an F may be one of them, be very similar to especially the word pharmacia in Spanish, which is fairly common in this state in use, but also it can carry implications based on the business type. So it's a very multifactorial kind of approach. We're not ever looking just at the name. Typically, there are other factors that are being investigated by the businesses, and they'll certainly color our response to the situation as well. Generally, and some of those investigations amounted to nothing. We essentially said, well, this is clearly, no one's going to confuse this because of the way that, the symbol was used or something along those lines. Typically, if they're very overt, very, very similar, or using the exact language of prohibited language in the statute, of a pharmacy, of an apothecary, of a, drug seller, then they will be either advised to change the name or it will become an action. Those are resolved typically in one of those two ways. But I would encourage people who see that to contact the Drug Control Division because it is something.
How about the symbol RX that's often used? We see it used everywhere now, from companies that deliver windows to, obviously pet food, and it's used quite often in the marijuana industry too these days. So what's the state's appetite for the RX symbol?
I would say that it is, in the same sense that there are multiple approaches or multiple factors that are considered in our approach to whether or not this is something that could potentially be misunderstood or be deceptive. I would say that the same type of factors would apply to the RX symbol or shorthand. It's one of many terms or phrases that we would certainly look at. And I do think that, to your point, there is a degree right now, because of the shifting nature of some of these cannabis-related laws, there is a point at which some confusion could occur that may not be the case in a totally unrelated industry. It is definitely something that we want to look into on a case-by-case basis. I think we have all expected that we would start to see some type of crossover there because of the growing industry in the state, or the growing industries related to cannabis. So it is something we would like to look into. We would like to be aware of it. Obviously, it's with the number of businesses in the state, it's not something that we can always just spot on our own as we're driving down the street and escalate to an investigation. But it is something that we do want to look into.
Sure.
And if you're a business that has a question about that, we would be very happy to discuss it. And obviously our intent is not to disrupt business. So we would prefer to have those kinds of problems addressed without the need for some kind of action. In some cases, because that's not an indication of the case at issue here, I just want to make it clear. In some cases that things are sort of already in process and there's not an opportunity to stop them. But if there's a question or a concern with the naming convention in use, or a theoretical naming convention someone is considering, please, they should feel encouraged to contact the Drug Control Division and hopefully get some clarifying answers.
Very good. Any other questions for Attorney Ando?
Yeah, Attorney Ando, was there a step down?
There was not a step down in this.
Thank you, Heather. Always looking out for me. She's so good. In that case, then I'll take a motion to, as the resolution that was presented from Attorney Ando on case number 2019-1977. Do I hear a motion to accept the resolution?
So
Move to
moved.
accept.
Oh, I'll second
Go ahead.
that then.
Brian will second it. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. Thank you, Attorney Ando. Till next time.
Thank
Appreciate
you
it.
very much.
Thanks. Moving on to miscellaneous matters. Commissioner Inguante with some CE news.
Thank you, Chairman. I would like to just give a quick report. On September 29th through October 1st, Commissioner Linder and myself participated on the ACPE recredentialing visit of the St. Joseph's University School of Pharmacy program. Just to give you a flavor of the site team, I'm going to let you know who from the ACPE participated. We had Bob Solstice, who's the Dean of Butler University School of Pharmacy. We had Scott Asheville, who's the Associate Dean of the School of Pharmacy at Campbell University. Jamie Nash, and he is at Sullivan University. He's the Associate Dean of Experiential Education. And Mary Jane Kennedy, who's also the Professor and Chair of Clinical Sciences at High Point University. And our chairman was a man by the name of Dr. Peter Velasquez, and I had participated with him in the previous surveys. He is the ACPE director, and he led the site team. So I took the morning and Kristen took the afternoon sessions. And the role of the pharmacy board in this is strictly observation. We do not have a speaking role. We have a lot of pre-reading that we do to prepare, but then we're in these various interview teams. I would like to recognize Commissioner Debbie Chisholm, who participates as a preceptor in that program. From my perspective, that was really, what we did. And I don't know, Commissioner Linder, do you have anything that you'd like to add?
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. I just want to really recognize the site team conducting the evaluation. I think it was a really great group of individuals, and they conducted a very comprehensive and I think fair review of the program. They asked really thought-provoking questions and provided very useful feedback. So I did learn a lot from the experience.
Thank you. So that concludes our report, Chairman, and I'll write up a couple of bullets for the minutes.
So the question begs, were they credentialed?
Well, I think they're going to have another visit, follow-up visit. I think Commissioner Linder can comment a little bit better because she was in the observing the exit interview.
Yes, I did attend the exit interview to the dean, and then for the other operations directors. And the final report, the School of Pharmacy program was found to be in compliance with, I think, many of the standards. They were found to be partially compliant with a number. I believe it was 4 or 5 that they will be monitored. So ACP has requested monitoring these standards, and they will be scheduling a follow-up on-site visit when it's safe to do so.
Very good. Thank you, Commissioner Linder. Thank you, Commissioner.
And this whole visit, by the way, was all via Zoom. So everything we did for the 3 days was by Zoom. And that's it.
In abstention, thank you, Commissioner Chisholm. Thank you, Commissioner Linder. Thank you, Commissioner Inguante. It sounds like it was a long Zoom meeting. We really appreciate you being on board. Heather, I don't need we don't have to take a motion or
No.
Just miscellaneous.
Nope.
Very good. Thank you again. Now sticking with the Mary Inguante show, Commissioner Inguante, request for non-resident pharmacy approval.
All right, you all have the report in front of you. This time we didn't have too many. We've got about half of them we need to deny at this point in time pending additional information. Some of them, again, that are going to be dabbling with non-sterile compounding, they really need to provide us with the 795 inspection, as well as if they're going to do sterile, we always ask for the 797. So you'll see in my report a lot of that's really the situation, missing bits of information that we need to review prior to granting approval. So if there are no questions, that really concludes my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Guante. The on-site visits for these pharmacies with COVID must be non-existent, correct?
Correct. Actually, there were a couple of them that were newly credentialed pharmacies, and the surveyors did a very nice job in the write-up and specified that due to COVID and the pandemic, everything was conducted remotely. And, you know, I thought it was really great that they actually called that out in the report, because otherwise how you don't even know, you know, again, and we're doing this remotely anyway, right?
Yeah, no, and I know we use that as one of our criteria for approval. I just wondered how they're getting around it, but you explained it now. Thank you, Commissioner Guante.
Yeah.
Any questions for Commissioner Guante? Hearing none, I'll accept the motion to approve the non-resident pharmacies. I'll make a motion to approve the half of the ones that are on the list that say approve. Do I
So
hear?
moved.
So move. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstention? Thank you. Did we lose Commissioner Carberry?
I'll stay with you.
No, he's there.
Sorry. I wasn't sure. I didn't hear. Okay, very good. All right, then moving on, I believe that's it. If I'm right, Heather?
We got to do the minutes.
To accept the Commission of Pharmacy meetings last month. I'm sure everyone had a chance to take a look at them. Any errors or omissions that anyone saw or would like to add or delete? Hearing none, I'll accept the motion to accept the meeting minutes.
So
Move
moved.
to accept.
Rick was first and Mary was a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. Brian, go out and have a couple of happy birthday drinks, buddy.
Thank you all.
Thank you, guys.
Sure.
Thank you for short sweep. What time is it? Did we beat the record?
10:22.
10:22.
I think we missed it by a minute.
I don't know about
All right, guys. Thank you so much for
All right.
taking.
Yeah.
Appreciate
All
it.
right,
Bye,
thanks.
everyone.
Okay,
Take care,
Take
buddy.
care.
be safe.
Yep, bye.
Take care.